This year, it would have been 10 years since I posted my first ever YouTube video. So what I wanted to do today is give 10 pieces of advice that I wish I would have told my younger self. Number one, don't let the numbers change you. A few years ago, I was at a point where I was really happy with my sound, my style, and I'd released a few songs, but I wasn't getting the numbers and the streams that I had dreamed of. I ended up throwing a lot of my stuff away. Like, I stopped making vintage sounding music. I changed up my fashion. I messed around with all the songs I was making and tried to make sounds, or tried to make songs that I thought other artists were making that would be more successful. And it ended up doing the exact opposite. My kind of catalogue was less well received than before. And I also didn't feel great. Over the last few years, I've gone back towards what I originally was doing, which is kind of making feel good, 60s inspired pop music, which is kind of what I had landed at previously. But I let the numbers or my perceived lack of success change the music I was making. I think that's a big mistake. I think you just have to make what feels good to you and let the numbers be the numbers. Don't worry about it, because you don't want to start chasing those numbers and you're not going to make anything authentic that way. Number two, slow down. I'm still figuring this one out, but definitely 10 years ago, I was really in this hustle kind of culture mindset of just sleeping's not important, having anything outside of music is unimportant, friends, hobbies, it was all going to be about the music. It's not necessary to be like that. I think you can work smart and not hard. You can make a song that does really, really well without really trying. If you're in the good headspace, you don't have to spend every hour of every day doing it. You can also have a life, and I think that's really important to have a life and have hobbies and have friends that you go and hang out with, because that informs the music. So you'll be happier and you'll make better music. Number three, play the game. A few years ago when I was in London, I had a kind of big management company looking after me, and we were trying to get a huge record label kind of involved. I wasn't very willing to bend to anyone. I had advice from my management company saying, oh, maybe you should make this kind of record, maybe you should work on this part of your social media or whatever, various pieces of advice that were more thinking about the industry and how I looked. And I was very Puritan about it, no, that doesn't matter. None of that outside stuff matters. It's all about the songwriting. I didn't play the game very well. When I was in that mindset of trying to get a record label and all of that, ironically now I don't really want a record label. But at that time, I wasn't willing to do the things that would have helped me in my career. I would have told myself to just wisen up a little bit and it's not all about, sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do or you don't feel comfortable doing, so it looks good for the industry if you want to play that game. Number four, the song is king. This kind of goes against what I just said about playing the game. I do think this, at the end of the day, it is all about the songwriting. And I've had so many times where I've had an average song and I'm trying to put a really modern kind of production around it, and I've got all this content and everything. No one's gonna care if the song isn't good. And on the other hand, if you have an amazing song and I even think of my first single, I think it's a great song. The music video is we filmed it with no budget, and the camera work is we were running around, we didn't know what we were doing. I don't think it mattered, because it captured an energy and it was kind of all about the song. It ended up doing really well. The song is the center of the whole music industry, and it's good to remember that. Number five, no one's gonna save you. A few years ago when I was trying to find my sound and looking for, a whole aesthetic and a production style, I was going from producer to producer that my managers were setting me up with, and I was always thinking to myself, oh no, this guy will figure it out. He's done X, Y, and Z famous artists. He'll figure me out easily. Surprise, surprise, it never happened. None of these amazing guys who I work with were able to give me the sound that I was looking for. The answers come from within. I had to figure out, oh no, I want to make this kind of music, basically the 60s soulful thing, and with a kind of a modern twist. I needed to decide that, And then I went to another producer and said, no, this is what I want to make. And I had a very strong outline of what I wanted to do. And I had the whole arrangement in my head. And at that point, he could put it together. But you can't just expect someone to give you the whole meal. You kind of have to give them the ingredients, and then they'll give you the meal. It's the same with managers or record labels. They can only work with what you give them. So they're not going to come and save you and give you a content strategy and all of that. You have to do all that work yourself, and they'll make the best of what you give them. Number 6, looks aren't everything, but they're not far off. When I say that, I mean the look of the project. I used to be very Puritan about the music, like I said before, and I think I was like, oh no, it's all about the song, and you know, who cares about the artwork and the aesthetic? That doesn't matter. It's not true, because if it were true, then pop music, we wouldn't know what they looked like. We wouldn't have music videos. We wouldn't have like gigs. Like the visual element is so important, and I neglected that for so long because I didn't think it was important or relevant. Whereas really, people, like when you're in a bookshop, you look at the cover and then you read the book. Like the cover is the gateway into the book. I would tell myself, remember that, and work just as much on your look and like how you dress and what you do on stage. Work the same amount on that as you do on the music. Number 7, you get what you pay for. I've always been like a scrimper in every way. Like I don't like to spend money. I like to save it because I like to be safe. At the end of the day, with a good record, if you pay for a great drummer, great bassist, great producer, etc., you're going to hear that. Whereas if you try and do everything on the cheap or do everything yourself when you're not capable of doing it, you're going to hear that as well. And you shouldn't cheap out on your art and something that's so important to you. Number 8, 10,000 hours. I spent probably more than 10,000 hours doing gigs. When I was like 10 years ago, I was like probably playing 300 gigs a year. It helped. It's transformed me. At the beginning, I couldn't really perform to a room without getting really nervous and not knowing what to say, not knowing what to do with my hands, not knowing how to put a set together. I've done so many of them. It feels easy. There's no shortcuts. If you want to get good at gigging, you have to gig a lot. If you want to get good at production, you got to produce a lot of songs. I'm only just getting there now with that. Number 9, no one knows anything. I have been very affected by negative comments from people in the industry who, there's not been a huge amount of negative comments, but there's a few things that I can pick out. Like I had one guy who said in an email, I never met this guy, and he was quite a famous manager, or respected manager, and he said, your voice is good, but nothing special. I've carried it with me for so long, and it made me do really bad things to my voice and shout and force things and try and make my voice special. He doesn't know. I'm not saying my voice is special, but nobody knows whether it is or not. It's not as if one person can say anything definitively. Like if you look at the amount of people who turned out Ed Sheeran, or like all of these people have stories of being turned down because the record label thinks they know, oh, this guy's not going to make it, and it ends up being not true. So you really shouldn't think that anyone's opinion is definitive. You shouldn't take things to heart so much, because everyone's just trying to figure it out, and that no one can ever predict like someone's success or a song's success or anything like that. So don't worry about other people's opinions so much. Number 10, don't stop. With YouTube especially, I have had my ups and downs. Like I've had periods where I post a lot and then periods where I don't. I regret that a little bit. I wish I'm doing it now, but I wish I'd been consistent for the last 10 years on it. YouTube's great. And this isn't just YouTube, by the way. This is just with don't stop in general. If you love something, you got to be consistent. You know, if you do something consistently over a lot of time, it builds and it compounds. So what is it? The turtle beats the hare, right? It's the same kind of thing. Are there any words of wisdom that you tell your younger self? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.